all roads, as they say, lead to Osun State on Saturday. That's tomorrow. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has expressed readiness for the exercise, even as it has strongly cautioned against vote buying, which is a new craze amongst politicians in our land. INEC Chairman Professor Mahmood Yakubu has assured the Osun electorate of inclusivity, credibility, and security, adding that the choice of who becomes the next governor is entirely in the hands of the people of Osun. Professor Yakubu talked about the establishment of the Electoral Offences Commission and Tribunal as recommended by the Justice Ways Committee in 2009. This was reinforced by the Lemu Committee in 2011 and the Nnamani Committee in 2017. Now, a bill is under consideration. We wish the people of Osun a rewarding time out as they play by the rules of the game, INEC.
Yeah, of course, but I find it, really disconcerting that the EFCC in Ekiti State, he claimed it arrested people. It arrested people for alleged vote buying. Up till now, we've not heard anything. So the point is that there must be enough deterrent to make people not want to commit crime. But the situation where those agencies tasked with law enforcement are actually lax or don't even care. They just come for the press. Okay, we got 10 people. And you don't even see anything. Nobody is being prosecuted. And then that tells us that the issue of vote buying is real. And it persists because the security agents don't want to put a stop to it.
Okay. All right. We'll turn things over now to our man at the scene. We have Ayo Ozubakun, who is our correspondent. Ayo is ready to paint a picture for us. Good evening, Ayo. How are you?
Good evening, Jones. Talking about painting that picture, DIG in charge of the operations that's for the election tomorrow, DIG Kokumo, has declared a curfew between 12 midnight as the usual practice till 6 p.m. 12 midnight today, restriction of movement, vehicular movement in and out of Osun State, and the exercise is expected to start 8:30 tomorrow and rounded off by 2 p.m., all things being equal across the 30 local governments. And we told you earlier that over 1.5 million people will be, participating in this exercise to choose the next governor. I think the candidates will be from 15 political parties. I'm not doing this alone. I have the director of Yaga Africa with me, Cynthia Mbamalu. Cynthia, the new menace, as Jones put it, vote buying. In your pre-election analysis, you guys mentioned it in Yaga Africa.
Yes, and that was because it's already a part of the elections process in Nigeria, which is a sad turn of events. In our pre-election observation, we started to even track voter inducement. So in fact, campaigns were not about issues or getting voters to support a party. It was about who had the most to spend. So cash payments were made. Livestock, was also exchanged. Gift
livestock?
Livestock, yeah. Although some also said it was because it was almost close to the celebration, the Salah celebration. So it was also
a form of inducement.
Yes, a good inducement, obviously, because if you cannot afford to get the ram and someone gives you a Salah ram, you know what that means for the family. How much is one ram, So it's unfortunate, but that is what we've seen so far in the pre-elections phase. We saw this in Ekiti, and it's sad that this is becoming a feature in our elections. And the political parties, no party is even totally absorbed from this, because the political parties and the candidates are looking for how to amass more wealth to buy voters. Now you have very strategic ways of buying votes in the elections, and it's a worrisome trend because regardless of the new electoral act that criminalizes vote buying, specifically there's a 1-year imprisonment, right? And
1 year?
Yes, 12 months. That's 1 year imprisonment. That's the new penalty for vote buying. But we've seen that it is not stopping the culture or the attitude. So some days ago, we went to communities to have voter education outreach. Some places around Ede, some places in Oshobo, and some other LGAs. And some of the voters already made up their mind that they are selling their votes. And some of them, we told them, no, don't sell your vote. And they said they are even looking for who will buy their vote because they do not believe that the government exists for the people. So for voters, they also think that, yes, that for them, this is the only time we can get something from this political class. After this time, they will not need us anymore. So you can also see that the politicians have learned this new weapon of vote buying to keep the oppressed class in a constant state of oppression. And they have taken away that free will of people to choose by introducing money. And it's unfortunate. This is what we're seeing.
And some don't do it at the polling units. They would have perfected that act just before the election.
Yes. I mean, we started seeing a lot of door-to-door campaign. It was started in Ekiti, and we tracked that in Ekiti, in Osun too. And at first, we thought it was a good thing because when you see door-to-door campaign, we thought it was
it's effective
way of reaching
mobilizing
out
people.
Before we realized it was more about targeting your resources specifically to homes and households. So it's almost like there's a prepaid and postpaid now because there are expectations that if we give this household this amount, this is the expectation of the number of votes we intend to get from here. So on elections day, you may not really see, it may not be as visible because you will need to look keenly to know that it is going on elections day.
Okay, Julie asked me a question yesterday. I will ask you that question too. Osun State did over 70% in terms of collection of PVC. How would this match the commensurate with the turnout tomorrow?
Well, so last election, Osun had about 45% turnout.
45% in 2018.
Yeah, in 2018. Although it was a decline from the 2014 elections. However, because if you look at the consistent trend, we've seen a further decline in turnout. In recent off-cycle elections that we've had, be it the Ondo, Edo, Anambra, even Ekiti, we've not had a really good turnout. However, there is some hope in Osun because Osun is normally a politically active and conscious state. And so if you see 45% is even more than we had at the presidential election nationally. So you can see for the state, it seems to be a good figure. We are not certain if we would have an increase from 45%. But one of the things we are hopeful for that if we have over 76% PVCs collected, there's a likelihood we may still be between 40-something% turnout. But if we have a 50%, that would be a major win for the state. However, it's a bit doubtful because we have voters who are still not necessarily interested in participating.
Because I wanted to ask, what would make you pick your PVC and on election day you're not coming out to vote?
Yeah, I mean, because the PVC, beyond being the major guarantee to vote, we've seen that people also use it as a form of identity, right? But there's also the interest towards the presidential elections. And this is the last off-cycle election before the general election. So if you look at the trend in even registration and PVC collection, Osun is one of the states that had a high increase in newly registered voters.
Yes.
So there are several permutations that part of this is also a drive towards the next elections because in Nigeria, we have a lot of focus on presidential elections, However, looking at the trend in Osun and the way the campaigns have gone so far, we're not very optimistic we'll have over 50% turnout. But one of the things we're hoping for is that we wouldn't have a further decline from what we had in 2018.
Finally, we saw an improvement in the operation of beavers in Ekiti State.
Yeah.
Now, the general assessment, now this is Osun State. What is expected of INEC for the use of beavers?
Well, I think the major thing is for INEC to improve on what it had achieved in Ekiti, because we saw a marked improvement. Part of the things we're expecting INEC to look out for, one, is in that they have done enough training for their officials that will be using the machine, because most of the machines they don't have an issue. Sometimes it's about training. Some people do not understand how to manipulate it on elections day. So we're hoping that there's been better capacity building for officials who are managing the beavers. The other part is that there's support for places where the beavers may malfunction. In Osun, in Ekiti, we saw that in 6% of polling units, the beavers malfunctioned but was fixed. So it's important that there is tech support on ground. So even if there is, even if there is fault, that it is immediately resolved, because you know that the beavers now is very important in our elections, that if beavers is not deployed, the polling unit's results for that polling unit will be cancelled. And you know what Osun is it will be contentious.
So that's what that electoral act says.
Yes.
That if the beavers is not deployed, the polling unit will be cancelled.
Yeah.
So from EC8A does not suffice.
Yes. So it's either the election is held the following day, or there's no election in that. So the beavers is that important. The elections, if it's not present, they can move the elections the following day. However, if the number of registered voters for those polling units will not affect the outcome, the elections may not hold in that polling unit. But I also wanted to state the importance of the permanent voters card in these elections, because with the new guidelines, determining the conclusiveness of elections will be based on the numbers of PVCs collected in those polling units, if it is more than the margin of lead between the parties. And I wanted to stress this because, you know, in Osun, we had a rerun in 2018, because the margin of lead between the APC and the PDP in that election was lesser, that the difference in the vote was lesser than the number of registered voters in the 7 polling units that were cancelled. So they had to go for a rerun. And even in that rerun, the difference of votes was barely 400 and something votes. So it was a close election. So Osun is likely going to be contentious. So it's also important that INEC makes public the PVC collection data for polling unit level. Not just LGA, but polling unit level. That
Cynthia
we have
and Bamalu, after the election, I'm sure we're going to do a post-mortem of the exercise.
Yes, hopefully.
All right. Jones, over to you in Lagos.
Except that I was going to ask if you had spoken with any of the Osun townsfolk. Is he or she ready for the exercise?
They're ready. They're ready. They're ready. Everywhere is quiet now, and people are buying and selling. They want to just make sure that the stuff ahead of the curfew tomorrow, they just stuff their with household items so that they'll be able to go out to exercise their franchise tomorrow.
Many thanks for your time. Enjoy your stay. Jide, you know, you are wondering if it is possible to have a look-see, you know, ahead of tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in terms of how the voting will go on.
That's it. Because look at 2 figures interest me here. 1.9 registered, 1.5 collected, 1.5 million collected the PVCs.
Yes, it's significant. That naturally should reflect willingness on the part of the people to exercise their franchise. But just as Cynthia said, some collect PVCs simply to use it as a means of identification, collect money in banks and all that. But I want to believe that more and more of our young people are becoming interested in the electioneering process. We've seen a rise in the rate of registration, you know. So I want to believe that the turnout will be good enough. I don't know whether it will be higher than the last election, but it should be good enough, because if people can take the pain to go and collect their PVCs, and 76% have collected, that should reflect in terms of the voter turnout. It should reflect on the voter turnout ultimately.
Emeka, but the fly in the ointment appears to be this critical thing called and known as by the name of vote buying.
Yes. Edibo Esebe, which is in local parlance.
Edibo
Esebe, that means vote and cook. Good soup.
Whatever
so,
that means.
I mean, it's unfortunate that poverty has become weaponized in the country, and that people have been pushed to desperation. Look at what the Yaga lady in Bamalu was saying. People say that they don't believe that this is the only opportunity they have to get anything from the political class. I mean, these are the things
they
we've been
collect
talking about.
the thing and then they complain and whine throughout 4 years.
Yes, but you see, when the people do these things, you need to ask questions. Why? There is a weapon they are fighting. It's not, I'm not justifying what they are doing, but the ruling class should also make the country better so that people don't have to resort to such desperate measures. Because collecting all this, how much are they even going to be giving? Even if it is a RAM 250, how long, whatever you have eaten would have gone off your system by now. So, but the next 4 years will be critical.
And yet we get told that voting does not matter. Yet votes are being bought.
Keep buying votes.
Jide, what strikes me would be the Electoral Offences Commission and Tribunal, which the INEC Chairman is talking about. Because if nobody is punished and be seen to be punished, it will continue.
It's about time we had a court dedicated to trying electoral offences. On election day, soldiers arrest criminals, those who want to snap ballot boxes, police make some arrests, but we do not hear about prosecution because we think that, oh, it is INEC that should prosecute. INEC, by telling INEC to prosecute electoral offenders across the country, where do we expect them to find the money? Because the prosecution is not cheap. They want to file a matter in court, costs a lot of money.
A lot of money.
So we shouldn't simply saddle, yes, INEC is the organizer of the election, but we shouldn't simply saddle INEC with prosecutorial responsibility in this case.
Because if INEC remains the whipping boy...
Because it then has to look for lawyers across the country who will handle those cases. You can imagine if we are certainly going to have electoral offenders in all the 36 states.
Yeah.
36 states, in some cases, dozens of them in some states. How do you expect INEC to be able to prosecute all of those people?
My worry is if INEC remains the perpetual whipping boy after an exercise like this, why can't we arm INEC?
No, I'm much more concerned about the impact that will have on its finances.
Okay.
Because to hire lawyers, it's not as if INEC has lawyers that it had employed working full-time with it. It has to hire lawyers, it has to pay them. It's not the Ministry of Justice, for example, that has some lawyers at its beck and call. For every person you are prosecuting, you are spending money. You are spending money. Every time the case is adjourned, you have to go. You return to
money is
court
involved
on the adjourned date. You have to spend money. You stay in an hotel. These things cost money. So we have to find a way. If we are determined to deal with this issue, we have to find a way to solve that problem and take that burden of prosecuting electoral offenders away from INEC.
Okay.